You got a chance to really get to know Kellen Moore, and all indications certainly point toward Kellen Moore being the guy. Now, Saints can't announce anything because, man, this team's been in enough trouble with the NFL. And we saw a couple years back, Jonathan Gannon goes to Arizona for the Super Bowl when they play in the Chiefs, and there's some talk there, and then they got caught tampering and draft choices stripped from. The last thing the Saints need is to have the NFL strip them of draft choices. They need as many as they can get their hands on. But your thoughts on what you've seen and your reaction to Kellen Moore and how he'll adjust to being – that's a big difference between being an assistant coach and a head coach. We talk about Richie, but it happened to him too.
Yeah, Kellen, I love him. I think he's a great coordinator. I know to make that next step, like you were talking with Richie Pettibone and anyone, they're all first-time head coaches, right, at some point. At some point, Tom Landry was a first-time head coach. Don Shula was a first-time head coach. Now, I'm not saying that'll be Kellen, but the notion that, it's a first-time head coach, everybody's doing it for the first time at some point in their career. But I always say, too, that a lot of people say, is this guy or that guy ready to command a room? And you're commanding half of the team already as a coordinator. If you were just, let's say, the quarterback coach and you get promoted and you're head coach, you'd say, whoa, that guy dealt with 3 guys every day in the room. Now you got to deal with 53. And so Kellen's dealt with half the room for his career, really, as a coordinator. And now he'll deal with the other half. It appears. But no, I'm a huge fan of Kellen. You look at the numbers that his teams have put up. The year he and Mike McCarthy parted ways, I don't want to say got fired, but it was certainly mutual. They were 5th in the NFL in scoring that year. The year before, they were 2nd in the NFL. This year in Philly, they're 2nd in the NFL in points scored. So his offenses have always been good, and I've always liked the way he approaches it. Remember, he came from Boise State, and Boise State, back in the day, they were running more shifts and motions and all that stuff. They were more creative than probably 90% of the teams in the NFL. So he's kind of been schooled in that. Obviously was a 4-year starter at Boise. And he's a winner. When he left, he had won more college games than any other quarterback in NCAA history. Now, they're all playing 7 or 8 years, and they've got about 120 starts under their belt. So I don't think he has that record anymore.
Babe, one of the things that impressed me about him, and I didn't know it, how it would react, was I think he had the reputation of being a pass-happy coach. But you know what? Sean Payton had that reputation, too, when he came out of Dallas. Because I know Parcells would always tell him, you got the virus. You got to learn how to run the ball every once in a while. And I see Kellen go to Philly. And, man, when I look at it, he adjusted his system, Babe, to what Philly does best. And that is the fact that they were built to run the ball. Big offensive line, really talented up front, and you got Saquon Barkley running the football. And for me, that was impressive to watch him adjust from being a guy that really liked to throw it downfield, and they still do, but he adjusted his offense to the talent level with the Eagles today.
To your point about Kellen and adjusting at Philadelphia, it's really coaching 101. You're going to look at what you have, what they can do, what they can't do, what they're comfortable doing, and then you're going to tailor your offense to that. And if you notice, too, Philadelphia this year, their first 5-6 games, they were kind of sputtering a little bit offensively. And then I think finally, Kellen and the team, and obviously it takes you a while. You hope it doesn't take you a year to say, hey, I think we figured this out. But it took about 5-6 weeks, and they started doing the things that Jalen Hurts does well, not doing the things he doesn't do well. And obviously they had Saquon Barkley back there. But I'll say this now. Everybody points to that whole Saquon and the Giants are idiots, and Saquon's the best running back in NFL history. When he was with New York last year, he averaged 3.9 a carry. Now, that's not to say he's not a great back. He is. We know that. But the notion that he was going to do in New York what he has done this year in Philadelphia is just wrong. And I think Kellen's a big part of that with the play calling. And not only the play calling, I always kind of laugh at people say, oh, this guy's a good play caller, that guy's a good play caller. It's a 3-part process. It's what you put in during the week, the plays you put in during the week, how you coach those plays during the week, and then Sunday you get the last third of it, which is the actual play calling.
before we let you run, I wanted to ask you about, the comments made by guys like Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb about Kellen Moore. He was there from 2019 through 2022 as an OC, but he was also there as a player beforehand. And so Dak kind of talked about becoming a rookie in 2016 and having him in the quarterback room and then later being coached under him and stuff like that. But some numbers, CBS Sports has a great article on this from a couple of years back that the Cowboys from 2019 through 2022, when he was the OC, had plenty of success, 27.7 points per game, which was second in the league. Same thing in yards per game, 376.3. They were only second behind the Chiefs in that time span. And then Dak was asked about him leaving. He said, for me to come up under him and be in the quarterback room with him the next year before him taking over to be a quarterback coach, fast track to an OC, which he's been phenomenal at, a guy that sees the game, very innovative. He's going to try things. He's been a huge part of my career. I know that he's going to have a lot of success, and wherever is next for him, he just had rave reviews to say about him. Similar thing from CeeDee Lamb, and both guys just raved about this. Kellen Moore is a leader on the offensive side of the football. Just want to get your thoughts on kind of his exit from Dallas and what he meant to some of those players there with the Cowboys, that very successful run that they had offensively from 2019 through 2022.
As you pointed out, it was a very unique relationship he had with Dak Prescott, because one minute he's a quarterback in the quarterback room, the next minute he's in the quarterback room as a quarterback coach, and the next minute he's in the room as an offensive coordinator. But it's funny, too, because Kellen is young, if you will, by NFL standards of, I believe he's 36. Is that correct?
Yes.
I should have looked that up. Okay.
Yes, he's 36.
But he's one of those guys, and I've been around him. I've been in and around the NFL for 40 years now, and you can just tell. I've had teammates where I said, man, that guy's going to be a heck of a coach. And I've had other guys where I said, boy, that guy better not get into coaching because he's going to cost him some wins. But Kellen, his dad was a high school coach, very successful high school coach, who was doing a lot of progressive things in the passing game. So, Kellen grew up with that. You're sitting around the dinner table and you've got that. So then you're at Boise. Again, they were more innovative at Boise back in the day when he was playing than most NFL teams. So while he's 36, I think the learning curve, he's way above that in terms of his experience and the people he's been around. No, I think I could not speak highly enough about Kellen Moore. He's going to be a great hire, if indeed he is a guy, which it appears he will be.
Babe, I won't let you go unless you give me a pick. Super Bowl Sunday. Who you like? Chiefs, Eagles? I know you ain't picking the Eagles, though. I wouldn't. I'd be surprised if you did.
No, listen. Where's the station? You're the flagship for who?
For the Saints.
Okay, and you're going to hire Kellen Moore. So I want you to have the winning offensive coordinator from the Super Bowl taking over your team. So I'm going to say Philadelphia.
There we go.
Okay, babe.